So, next, why is science hard? Science is hard because of the theory-ladenness of observations. We
Yeah.
kind of hit on this before, right? Surprisingly, he says our scientific theories strongly influence what we observe,
Ooh.
not just what we believe.
That I mean, some people would view this statement as a hard stretch. No, no,
Yeah.
no. I look up in the sky. I see the moon. That it's there,
Yeah,
right? That's
yeah.
it. So, I sure whether or not it's made of cheese is one thing, but
All
it's
right.
there.
So here's the other thing. You look up in the moon, or you look up in the sky, the sun is here at one time and the sun is there at another time. What does that tell us?
Hmm.
Does it tell us that the sun moved? Yes, at one time
Yeah,
it
right.
did, right? Or does it tell us that the earth is moving? Well, now that, right? So notice our scientific theories strongly influence what we observe. Did we observe the sun moving, or do we observe the earth spinning?
Hmm.
Well, it depends on our theory.
Right.
Right?
Location.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So for one thing, our current theories, our current beliefs about what the world is like, are largely influenced by what scientific theory we hold. So this determines what sorts of features we wish to test, right, and the kinds of experiments we use to test them. Our theories also tell us which sorts of observations are acceptable, right, which experiments count as reliable or successful. So again, our theories are laden by our observations, right? And so what's the issue here? Well, this is the point he's trying to make. Background knowledge, for instance, tells us what a particular observation means, right? And even what counts as evidence for or against a theory.
Mm-hmm.
Well, our background knowledge is another way, perhaps, of saying in a brief way, our worldview, right? Our knowledge that we have, that we bring into the picture, that we bring into the explanation, right?
Yeah. There was a scientist, and I listened to a podcast with him, Avi Loeb from I believe Harvard. He postulated that there was this. They observed a comet, and they said his postulation was it was possible if you were an alien civilization, this might be one of the ways you would send out kind of beacons in order to attract attention, and so. He became news famous because anytime you talk about aliens in the news, especially a scientist from Harvard, you kind of get those headlines. But there's so many people in his field that don't view that because, well, the fact that evolution even existed on Earth is astronomical. The fact that it could happen out there again is also astronomical. So in their worldview, aliens aren't possible, but in he's allowing for a reality in which aliens exist and that they're willing to communicate and wanting to, and this might be a way that they do it. So they both have the same observation, so it's their worldview that allows for that type of evidence, either for or against it. Mm-hmm. He views it in the way that it's shaped or what he would consider as communicable information as potential evidence, but other people just view it as a normal comet. So again, it's what your worldview allows you to observe, and then also what counts against it. Well, for everybody else that doesn't agree with him, all the evidence counts against it because their worldview doesn't allow for alien.
And so his point here, Stokes' point, is that theory influences observation, which influences theory, which influences observation, right? He says we have what he calls a kind of scientific hermeneutical circle for something as apparently objective as seeing, right? Seeing is believing, but the converse is true as well, right? And again, what we see is the sun here at one time and the sun over there at another. What are we observing? Well, it depends on the theory that we have. Mm-hmm. Are we observing the sun rotating, moving around the earth, or are we observing the earth spinning? Well, what's our theory? Mm-hmm. What's our worldview And then that will tell us then what we're observing to a certain extent, right? And so we need to be aware of that.